another episode of the House of Ways and Means. I'm Ways, this is Means, and we are just going to jump right into it because it is late and we are tired and we are spent. So what are we talking about tonight?
Talking about gender dysphoria. I don't know anything about it, so I'm going to kick it over to you. What is gender dysphoria?
So gender dysphoria is someone who presents as having extreme discomfort in their birth gender, their biological gender.
So I imagine this is something that you would find a lot in the LGBTQI community.
Yeah, he just learned about I. He don't know nothing about it.
I still
He don't know nothing about it.
I is, but she told me to say I. So.
I just wanted to be correct, y'all. So no, the difference between gender dysphoria and a lot of the gay, lesbian, the whole bisexual, that whole thing, those terms are really based on sexuality, not gender, right? So it's based on who you're attracted to or who you want, have a sexual attraction to. So if I'm a female and I like women, then I'll be considered lesbian.
You cut out some of the letters though. We were talking about all the extra letters, you cutting them out. Some of them are related to gender though, I think.
Well, I would say the T would be. So there's the transsexual piece. Those are individuals who may have experienced gender dysphoria and are in the process of transitioning their gender because they found discomfort with their gender beyond what is culturally accepted as a part of their gender.
What would make somebody feel uncomfortable with their gender? I mean, how does that happen?
So I wouldn't say that everyone's situation and circumstance is the same. People experience different things that can affect those thoughts. People who have gender dysphoria, it may have been something that manifested from the time that they were a young child, feeling uncomfortable in a dress, not feeling like it fits them or it defines who they are and who they would want to represent and be to the to the outside world. So they could be uncomfortable with maybe their hair, the way their hair lays, or the way their hair is cut, their eyes, their face shape, breasts or no breasts, hips, legs, the way that they speak, high tone, or maybe it's too deep, or maybe they have an Adam's apple and they would prefer not to. Anything that physically, biologically that you have that makes up who you are as an individual, and I would represent your gender to the outside world is what they would be uncomfortable with if they are experiencing gender dysphoria.
But it sounds like though that this would be different from somebody who perhaps just is uncomfortable from a societal standpoint, and perhaps a woman who is a lesbian would feel like, well, maybe I should be a man because I like women.
Right. It's not a lesbian who's like, you know what? Because I like women, I have to be a man. And so that would be conforming to society's standards of what a relationship should look like, in that it should be male and female. And because they are sexually attracted to a female, that they should in turn become a male to kind of fit that mold. No, that's not what it is. A lesbian is a lesbian is a lesbian. You are a female, you're comfortable as a female, you accept your femaleness, and you are attracted to other women.
So how does this discomfort manifest itself outside of just, feelings of discomfort in a dress, perhaps? I mean, how does it really look?
It could be someone who may wear weaves because they, let's say they were born a male and they have really short hair, but they identify themselves as a woman, so they, they identify themselves as a female and they want someone to view them, they want other people to view them as a female. So some female gender role things are maybe women have longer hair, right? So, and they have a higher pitch in their tone when they're speaking, so that person would speak a little higher like this, like da, 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 because they want to perpetuate that they are female. So they would have longer hair, maybe they may get a bra, they might stuff it. This is different to cross-dressing, right? Because this person wants the world to see them as a woman, not just for a period of time. It's because they truly are uncomfortable and find discomfort in their presentation of a particular gender. And then there are people, this is a little bit different, who not so much that they are uncomfortable with their gender, but people who don't want society to identify them as either gender.
All right, so it sounds like you have some experience in a clinical sense. What would a course of treatment look like, and I guess what would that look like up to and until the person decides that, hey, I need to go ahead and have a gender change, go ahead and have surgery and get myself all switched up?
No, I guess, okay, so for your question, you mentioned leading up to the exchange. There are people who could experience gender dysphoria and they may never have the operation.
Well, yeah,
right?
I'm just saying, like, obviously that's kind of like the I don't want to call it extreme, but that's kind of the end for a lot of people. So is there anything that can be treated up to and until that, or is that really the only option?
I would say time used to assess that person's true mindset, because surgery is something that's permanent. You know, when you change your gender, you change the way that your body looks, right? So you would begin hormone treatment. That's one of the first things you would do. You would begin hormone treatment. You also need to see a clinician like myself, someone licensed that can fully assess to see if there are no psychological factors that are affecting your choice, making sure that you're not in duress, making sure that you're not making this change because of some form of trauma that you've experienced, which happens. And I would say this is the kind of the course of treatment for someone who is an adult. Now, if the person is a child, I wouldn't recommend, I'm strongly against the operation as a child. I don't know if parents have signed off on a change. I'm aware that if there are children that are born with both genitalia, which is rare, that they would allow their child to decide kind of which they prefer, and then the decision is made. And in that case, I would say that's a bit different. But if the child is born with a specific gender and they want a gender reassignment, that they should really wait until they're an adult to make that decision themselves, and in the process, continue to engage in therapy that is supportive, that informs them of the decision that they're making, assess fully whether there's any trauma, any other issues kind of going on, and then they should also have assessments conducted, some sexuality dysfunction assessments, just to see if the person, just to rule out the person isn't wanting a change because they have a dysfunction. Maybe they don't ever come. Maybe the person never climaxes, or they have difficulty with climax, and they feel if I had different genitalia, maybe I would climax. So you want to rule those things out, because that wouldn't be a good, I don't want to say good enough reason, but for it's not a true reason for having an operation.
So can you give a few tips for parents of perhaps children who are still children who have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria? I mean, I know there's a lot of societal pressure, a lot of parents perhaps don't know what to do. They may be unhappy that this is what's happening to their child, just from maybe selfish standpoint, like, well, why does it have to be this way? Why? They maybe try to convince them that maybe what they're thinking is the wrong thing, and then just try everything they can, or even just be in denial denial? Like, what are some tips for how parents can be supportive in the midst of all that?
The reality is that what parents and caregivers are experiencing during the time of the child admitting this discomfort with their gender, they're experiencing loss, right? Because if you birth a child that was born as a male, but they're saying that they want to be a female, and that parent caregiver was really excited about having a boy, this is their first son, da 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 da, they are experiencing a loss of that child because the child is interested in being a woman. So I would say the protocol to follow with parents and the way that they can be supportive is for them to first seek therapy themselves. They can also attend support groups as well, to be amongst other parents that are experiencing the same things. But I would say one of the important things to look at would be the stages of grief, so that the parents can kind of move through the stages of grief, not necessarily in any specific order, but that's a form of treatment I would use to a parent. Ways that you can support your child as a parent who's experiencing this is to get that child some support, because the child could be going through the developmental stage, Erickson's developmental stage of identity versus role confusion, where the child really could thoroughly be confused with who they are, who they want to be, where they're going, things like that. And so gender identity is a part of that identity and that role confusion, who they should present themselves as to the world. Or maybe it could be a fad, maybe their friends are all coming out and so they feel they need to come out too, or maybe they were sexually violated, or whatever else. There could be some type of trauma, something that they may have experienced that leads to this kind of tug of war that they're experiencing with their sexual, well, not with their sexual, but with their biological gender.
All right, thanks for watching this video, guys. You got any comments, any requests you want to see done, you just drop them down in the comments section. Otherwise, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you all soon.